What's up everyone? So today I'm down at Touring Sport and behind me is a 2018 Ducati Scrambler. Huge thanks to them for providing this bike for me today. I'll have a link to their website down in the description below. The model that we're looking at today is the Cafe Racer style Scrambler. It's finished off in black and has an MSRP just over $11,000. This bike comes with an L-twin 2-valve per cylinder engine. It measures 803 cc's or 49 cubic inches. It is air-cooled and fuel-injected, paired only to a 6-speed transmission, with first gear being all the way down, neutral is between first and second gear, and then you go up all the way to 6th. This engine produces 73 horsepower at 8,200 RPM and 49 pound-feet of torque at 5,700 RPM. It is chain-driven to the rear wheel. With a dry weight of 396 pounds, you can expect 0 to 60 to be less than 5 seconds depending on the rider's skill level, a top speed of 125 miles an hour, and with a fuel capacity of 3.5 gallons, you can expect around 47 miles per gallon depending on how the bike is ridden. The wheelbase measures 56.5 inches, it has an overall length of 82.3. The width is 34.5, it has a height of 41 inches and a seat height of 31.7 inches. Starting up front, this features an old school design with a single 5-inch LED headlight. It also has brights and turn signals on each side of the headlight. For the front, this features a single 330mm disc with radial 4-piston Brembo brakes and ABS. It also has an upside down Kayaba 41mm fork with wheel travel at 5.9 inches and a rake of 21.8 degrees. Moving to the side, this features 10-spoke gold-finished aluminum wheels. They measure 17 by 3.5 inches up front and 17 by 5.5 inches in the rear, wrapped in Pirelli tires. This has a tubular steel trellis frame, a stainless steel muffler, and aluminum tailpipes. It also has the number 54, which is in honor of Bruno Spigareri, who was an Italian Grand Prix motorcycle racer. And this has a clean, simple look from the side as well. And finishing up in the rear with a single 245mm disc and 1-piston floating Brembo brake caliper with ABS, a Kayaba rear shock with preload adjustability and travel of 5.9 inches. This has an LED brake light and turn signals, and the license plate holder is nicely placed behind the rear tire. Now moving on to the gas tank, it has really clean lines running down it, along with Ducati Scrambler to the side. Looking at the gas tank now, you just flip that up, insert the key, turn it to the right, and you can go ahead and open that up. This is a 2-seater bike. It does have the rear cowl on right now, but if you go up underneath, you can insert the key here to remove the seat. The seat is a 1-piece design all the way to the rear passenger there. Very nice brown leather with white stitching running along the side. Has very nice grooves running in the middle as well. And as far as storage space goes, when you use that key to pop the seat, you do have a little compartment right here for, wallet or phone or something like that. So it's not crazy, but obviously for a bike, you don't really need much more than that. So what do you guys think of this bike so far? This is the first time that I've been on a Cafe Racer style bike, and I think it's pretty cool. It's a lot different than a normal sport bike that I've driven before. It just has a nice design to it, old school as I said, with the single headlight in the front. But it doesn't stick out or anything, it just has a nice clean design in the front, and then I like the side styling to it as well. So now with the key, it's time to show you guys all the electronics, and I'm gonna insert the key. I have it in the steering wheel locked position right now, so that way if you were trying to move the bike, you couldn't do that unless you push down on the key, turn it to the right. It's in its normal position now. And now you can turn the electronics on, and then with the engine kill switch here, flip it up and start it up. So once on the bike now, we're gonna start with all the left-hand controls. You have the brights up on top, you have your toggle switch between blinkers, so you can do left and right, of course, and then just by pushing in the center, we'll shut them off. You have the horn to the left, and then these buttons top and bottom will toggle between your trip A, your trip B, the air temperature outside, along with the total mileage for the bike. Of course, you have your clutch as well, and then a handlebar mounted side mirror, which does a really good job. It's nice and cleanly to the side there. Moving to the right side, of course, you have your throttle, your front brake, you have another mirror, and then the kill switch, which I just showed you. Of course, it's off right now. You just flip this up to turn it on, and then just flip it down to shut it off. And then you have your gauge cluster right here. Not too much to it. You have the time up top. Your revs are down on the bottom, of course, with your miles per hour in the center. There is a neutral light and an ABS light as well. All right, so now it's time to get the Scrambler out on the road now. Driving it over to this lot here, it really wasn't that difficult to get used to the balance transfer compared to the CBR that I have. Obviously it's much different. Obviously visibility on a motorcycle is very easy. You're gonna look to where you need to see everything, so that's not an issue. I do like the placement of these mirrors here. They're in a nice spot, you know, compared to like a sport bike that would have them coming off the front. I like how they are there. I have seen some people switch them the other way and have them down low, which I could see being useful, you know, just your preference of where you want them basically. But we're gonna take this right turn. And again, I've gotten pretty used to this bike already. You can easily kind of get sideways there and lean it over. I really like the overall driving position of this bike. I've only put a couple miles on it, but again, as I've said, this is a very upright style bike, so I could easily see going on long trips. And I've got all my camera gear on my back right now, and I'm not too hunched over. I'm pretty much, again, upright. So even if you had a second passenger on here, I could see, you know, that being comfortable as well. Just sitting at this stoplight here, the bike height or the seat height is very low. I'm flat-footed right now, so I really am not trying to struggle to hold up the bike. Dry weight under 400 pounds too. It's not really hard to maneuver so far, as long as you keep your momentum going, you know. But moving on to the gauge setup while we're at a stoplight here, very simple. Again, you just have your miles per hour and your rev. That's really all you need. This is an old school bike. It's geared towards just getting out and riding and having fun. While it has ABS and some other technology like that, you really don't have much that you need to look at. You're going to take this bike out and just go on a nice cruise. All right, so we're going to test the power of this bike now. Woo! Oh, I can feel that front end wanting to pull up a little bit. It definitely has a lot more low torque in it, which is nice to see. The RPM range only goes to about 12,000. Now, I didn't get anywhere close to that, nor will I be doing that on today's ride, but it definitely has a lot of low-end torque to get you up to speed. It probably doesn't have a lot in the higher end, which is okay because, you know, this isn't meant for really like getting out and racing. It's just more for cruising again. It's so easy to ride this bike, and we're gonna get on some other turns back here. Nothing too crazy, but this is a good road that I like to come to. You know, it's not crazy loud. I'm not wearing any earplugs in my helmet or anything. I have done that on some other bikes where you kind of just get that drone, especially since the exhaust is on that one side. It's right on your right side, but I don't hear, you know, I can barely hear it. There's a lot of wind out today, kind of drones out that exhaust. All right, we're coming to a left turn, kind of sharp here. Oh, it's so easy to just throw this bike exactly where you want it, and you're up to speed like that. So just talking about the ergonomical feel of this bike again, clutch is very easy to use. It's very engaging. You really don't have to go that far out in order to get the bike moving and get it into gear. Very easy to rev match on the downshifts. Of course, that's skill level in being able to do that, but it's so smooth in all the shifts. I like how everything is. You know, there's not much at all, which is easy to do because you're just out cruising. You don't need to worry about looking down and trying to figure out a whole bunch of different settings or anything. And again, with the upright style bike, I love how comfortable it is to be on it. While there's no like center windscreen or anything like that, you know, there's really not too much wind noise. I'm not out on the highway or anything, but I've been going about, you know, 45, 50 miles an hour on these back roads here, and I have no complaints with it. But other than that, this is a really fun bike to ride. I wish I had a little more twisty roads that I could get it out on, because it handles incredible. Just going back and forth here between the lane, it's so easy to just pinpoint exactly where I want the bike to go. It's crazy with that upright style. It's kind of like you're on a dirt bike in a sense. You know, my knees aren't really that bent. I mean, compared to being on a sport bike or something like that, they're in a really comfortable position. So I don't see, you know, getting tired from them being too bent like that. So I'm gonna come over to this wall of mirrors here, so that way you guys can really see how upright I am. I'm not too hunched over. The handlebars are in a really good spot, so you know, I'm not down like this or anything like on a sport bike. It's a really nice and easy bike to be on. I could see this being a good beginner bike too, because of how upright you are. You really don't have to worry about the balance or anything too much, you know, compared to being low and over the handlebars a lot more. It's kind of interesting too to ride a bike that doesn't have normal handlebars, I would say. They're coming kind of right off the side of the forks here, rather than having the forks back and you have your handlebars placed a little bit farther forward. So it is much different, but it's nothing that I've had to change and get used to. I mean, it's just like hopping on a normal bike, just the placement is a little different. But I think it's pretty cool, and even having this design, they're not too low again. So as you saw me in that reflection, I'm not having to lean down in order to hold on to them or anything. They're in a good spot. And what I also know about this bike too is you're kind of starting at like a good base platform of buying the bike as is, and then there's a ton of different mods that you can do with it. You can upgrade the exhaust, they have different handlebar features that you can get a different seat and things like that. So it's a really nice bike to be able to kind of just start with a good old school looking platform and modify it the way that you'd like in order to get the bike obviously that you're looking for. And we're gonna come around and make a left turn here and give it one last acceleration. We'll start off in second gear this time. And just like that, we are up to speed. So that's my walk around review and test ride on the 2018 Ducati Scrambler. Huge thanks again to Touring Sport for providing this bike for me today. I'll have a link to their website down in the description below. So this was definitely a really cool bike to check out. It's very, very comfortable to ride. I could see going long distances with this. Not too much technology in that gauge cluster. You have ABS and all of that, but not really much else that you need to focus on. It's just you and the bike. Very simple, very old school, but in a modern design. I really like the styling of it overall. If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next video.